Well, markets welcoming shortened quarantine rules this week. But looking ahead to the new year, the Fed is expected to begin its rate hike campaign, which may be a drag on the economy, certainly on the markets. Reaction now from former Dallas Fed advisor Danielle DiMartino Booth. Danielle, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Happy New Year. Kevin Hassert, who knows a thing or two about economic policy, he was on with Larry Kudlow about a week ago saying it's too late. The Fed kind of already has hesitated enough so that we are probably looking to double-digit inflation in 2022. What do you think about Kevin's statement?
Well, David, I hope it's not double digit. I hope it's not that bad. But even if inflation just stays where it is, 6.8%, nearly 7%, that's debilitating and especially regressive for some of the middle income earners who don't necessarily have the social safety net underneath them to catch them. And a lot of Americans don't realize that they're not getting the child tax credit on January the 15th, deposit it directly into their checking accounts in cash. So I think this first month of 2022 especially is going to be very confusing and difficult for many U.S. households. A lot of the chaos and confusion that you've just come through with your last segment detailing is also sowing its way into the economy when, as Kevin asserts, the Fed may have missed the window, missed the window of opportunity when we have to think. We were sitting there for months and months and months debating who the Biden administration was going to renominate or nominate to be head of the chair. And I think a lot of that dissension and a lot of that confusion inside of the Fed made the Fed paralyzed when it should have been acting sooner. So, we might have a case here where the Fed is trying to hurry up, catch up, and it doesn't have the time. What
concerned me was when I saw wholesale inflation. The wholesale number was 9.6%, very close, just a tick away from double-digit inflation. Of course, wholesale inflation is eventually passed on to the consumer when they pass it on to the retailers and it shows up on your shelves. To me, that's indicating it is going to get higher before it gets better.
Traditionally, we do, David, see that producer price index feed into the consumer price index, as you described. If that's not feasible, if that's not possible, if consumers can't handle the higher prices, then that tends to take profits down. So when profits come down, then companies resort to cost cutting, and cost cutting typically entails cutting the most variable of all assets for companies, and that's labor. So if you will, you're damned if you don't, you're damned if you do. If you cannot raise prices, then you're going to have to cut back on your workforce. That's the last thing we want to see, and or pass through partial price increases to consumers and lay off people at the same time. Again, to your initial point, the Fed missed its window of opportunity in a big way, and now it's going to try and play catch up while American companies are trying to figure out how to contain the costs or pass them along to U.S. consumers, neither of which is a good option.
Now, there's a PNC analyst who's getting a lot of attention today saying, because he said that the costs are going to go down, inflation is going to be temporary, and in fact, he said energy prices in particular are going to go down in 2022. Phil Flynn, who I trust more than anybody in terms of energy prices, he's got a great record. He said not true. We're facing $100 a barrel oil in 2022. Who do you think has it right here?
Well, I think what we have to be mindful of is the fact that the United States is energy independent only insofar as much as we produce enough oil. But we don't have the refining capacity such that we have to continue to import oil in order to have it refined, because we don't pump enough out of the crude grade that we need to refine here on shore. So the odds are that we're going to have to continue to have imports, and imports are going to make us vulnerable to rising prices. And that's just a fact of life until the American energy industry is incentivized to build up its refining capacity and incentivized by the administration. That has not happened yet. To pull more oil out of the ground.
No. Well, they're not incentivized by an administration who wants to kill fossil fuels. That's for damn sure. Danielle, we're going to see more of you coming up, I'm happy to say. Thank you very much for being here.